Before I officially gavel this meeting in order, I need to share something with you. This is the gavel that I am using tonight for our first council meeting in our new facility after being at the municipal annex for 18 months. So where tonight, for the first time in 18 months, we're going to be recording our meetings via video rather than just audio. Now you might ask, where did a gavel this size come from? About 2.5 or 3 years ago, staff was doing a little city hall cleaning. And in one of the closets, they found this. And this has taken residence in my office since that time. I don't know the origin of it because it says City of Blue Springs. So I don't know if mayors that preceded me used this for their protection or what. But I'm going to put it back in my office after tonight's meeting. So anyway, that being said, I will now call the Blue Springs February 1st, 2016 City Council meeting to order. If you would, stand with me, observe a moment of silence, and Scout Troop 362 is going to come down front and they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. But I will let you know when to start. So you can go ahead and make your way, and then we're going to observe a moment of silence, and I will turn around and cue you on when to start the pledge. And we have quite a troop here tonight from St. John Lalonde. Moment of silence.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Troop 362. I want to welcome all of you in attendance, as well as those that might watch the video on our cable channels or watch it online at a future time. The next thing on the agenda is the consent. Are there items that need to be pulled? If not, I accept a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levacy?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
Next, we have a presentation by Blue Springs, by the Blue Springs Chamber. So, Laura, if you would, welcome. You're the first one to make a presentation in our newly renovated council chamber.
Well, good evening, you guys. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and this is a wonderfully beautiful facility, and I'm happy to be the first one here to present to you. So the reason I'm here tonight is to give you an update on the Buy Blue Springs program and also the Discover Blue Springs program of the Chamber. I've been here a couple of times before to talk about both programs, and I just want to remind you that the programs are similar but different. The primary audience for our Discover Blue Springs program is the visitors to our community, and the audience for our Buy Blue Springs is the residents to our community. So why do people buy locally? The owners of our local businesses are the ones who are behind the counters. And the local businesses have local products on their shelves. And they are 250 times more likely to support local events. So buying locally keeps the money in our community 4 times more than when you don't buy locally. We also have a slide included in here about visitor spending. It's very similar to our buy local slide. So visitor spending is visitors from outside of the area coming to our community and leaving their money with us. Besides buying locally, the benefits that are included there, we also have the benefit of adding to the taxes paid by our existing residents, and it also encourages historic preservation. So as you probably know, at the Chamber, we work through our members. I have a group of committee members that meet monthly. For several years, they've worked on the Buy Blue Springs Visitors Task Force. I have a good group of them behind me tonight. They can wave at you that they're here tonight. As a part of that group, we have local retailers, not-for-profit organizations, banks, real estate representatives, the Mid-Continent Public Library, the city, and of course, the Chamber. As you might remember, the city has allocated $5,000 to the Chamber for several years to manage the program, and the Chamber has taken at least $5,000 from their budget also to put towards these programs. So let's start with the Discover Blue Springs update first. The first thing I want to do is share a screenshot of the website. Last year when I was here, I told you that one of the projects for 2016, this year, would be a redesign of that website, and we are on target to do that this year. We're still doing some of the other things that I told you about when I was here last year, including the map that you see on the left and our community postcards. We did upgrade the scenes on some of those postcards. We've got a new piece of the Blue Springs public art as well as the Veterans Way Memorial. These postcards are offered in our office at no charge. They're very popular. The brochure, which has in the past been a one-sheet page, and it's a list of local parks, restaurants, lodging, it is not big enough anymore. So for the first year, this year, it became a larger publication, and it also highlights history, activities, attractions, and then also lists all of our restaurants, parks, and lodging. To start off with, in 2015, we printed 1,000 of these, and we're definitely going to need to print some more of those this year. The conference bags. We spent a lot of time this year promoting Blue Springs to people who had conferences. And we started with the Adams Point Conference Center because they were able to provide us with a list of conferences that they had coming up, and then how many people were going to be at that conference. And they worked with those folks to put our bags in their registration packets. So in August, we delivered bags for 2 conferences. One had 26 attendees and the other had 75. In September, we had a conference of 230. They put our bag in their registration bag. In November, we had one with 130, and in January, one with 150. So in your bags, we put a sample of what we give out. You can see it has a map, a brochure, the postcards, the pin, the eyeglass cleaner, the Downtown Alive coupon page, as well as coupons from some of our local merchants, Petals and Potpourri, Chick-fil-A, Lifestyle Transformations, Wingstop, and Sonic. So we're very excited with the new field house. We think that will also give us opportunities to promote to visitors in our area. In fact, I sent some back for the recent state youth basketball tournament last week. I think I sent about 50 of those bags back. So you've got a bigger bag on your seats. I hope you all found it tonight that had that small bag in it. The bigger bag was provided by the Mid-Continent Public Library. We have a great partnership with them. The librarian from South sits on our task force. You also should have found coasters in there with scenes from Blue Springs on them. You can purchase more if you would like them from Genevieve's in downtown Blue Springs. Pam, who's the owner of Genevieve's, sits on our committee. She's one of the co-chairmen of our Buy Local task force. The artist of those coasters is Carol Schaefer, and her business is Coasters to Coasters, and she's a Blue Springs native. Okay, so let's move on to the Buy Blue Springs portion of the program. Last year, we told you that we plan to update that website in 2015. That project was completed. The committee didn't spend a lot of time on that. It was more of a back-end update. The website has the same look and feel. It just needed some things to make it a little easier to work with. So here are some images from our Facebook page. On that page, we promote local businesses. This last year, I would say we saw more businesses promoting themselves on that page. On the right, you can see one from Blue Springs Dentistry. We also, on Friday afternoons, provided updates, things to do in our community, trying to encourage people to get out there and support our local merchants. You can see an example of that on the left. We continued our ads in the Blue Springs 8 Theater for all of 2015. So there's a sample of one of the ads that we ran. Just like in years before, we attended any community event that we could, and we passed out items. We did that at National Night Out, Trick or Treat Street. We also distributed items at the new Teachers Breakfast in the fall. Hopefully you saw the new street banners, the Buy Blue Springs street banners. We worked with our partners in downtown also to put those up. We had Fall Fun Festival banners up. We worked again with our community partners to create those stackable blocks that you see on the right there. And those are really great because we can take those to community events as we partner with those other organizations, and they just stack easily and fold up and can be stored very easily. We took those to area expos, including our Eastern Jackson County Expo in the spring, and all of the How to Start a Business in Blue Spring expos that we've held. We are donating a set of those blocks to the School of Economics so that they can use those as an educational tool for students. We tried a new program called Shop and Share this last year, and we did that program instead of our Rendezvous with Little Blue. We offered prizes for people to shop in our local stores and then put a post on Facebook about their experience. We didn't get the participation that we had hoped for, so we'll revise that this year. We did have 7 different businesses mentioned on Facebook. We continued to run ads in our school district magazine that's called The Blueprint. This magazine is mailed out to all district residents in Blue Springs, Independence, Green Valley, and also Lee Summit. There's another sample ad that we ran in that publication. We just really promote the Buy Blue Springs program wherever we can. It's in the Chamber newsletter. It was in the most recent City magazine that was mailed out to all residents between Christmas and New Year's. It's in our new business membership directory, and it's we send an email out once a month with a Buy Blue Springs tip, and in that email we get about a 30% open rate. We started a new program this year that was really quite popular. It's called Meet Me for Lunch. We selected a member restaurant, and then we worked with them to identify a date and invited everybody that we knew to just show up and eat lunch. The goal of the program is to create a financial impact on the business, to raise awareness about the restaurant, and then also create networking opportunities. We did not have an agenda, and everyone just paid for his or her own meal. We did try to assign seats, and what we try to do is pair people up with others that we thought would be a good match for them, someone they might like to meet. So you can see the restaurants that we visited and the different numbers of folks who attended in the different months. That's 167 people that we recorded, and what I do know is that if a business couldn't come, they may have had takeout that day. They may have sent one employee to get food at the restaurant and taken it back. Or some of them attended later that day. If they couldn't come at 11, we try to avoid their lunch rush and go a little bit early. So some people still went to that business that day or even that week. So we know we filled seats in local restaurants. So we do have one scheduled, the next one scheduled, which I'd like to invite you all to attend if you're able. It's Tuesday, February 23rd, 11 a.m., and it's at Tony's here in Blue Springs. So also we partnered with the school district, and we sent the Shop Local message through their BSSD radio. We offer businesses the opportunity to create an ad about themselves, and all they have to do is mention the fact that they're encouraging people that are listening to buy locally. We know students are listening because one of our new advertisers this year reported back that their child heard it in the high school on the radio, and they were just horrified and couldn't believe that their parents were talking on the radio. So we know that people are listening, and we'll just continue to spread that by local messages. And Mayor, we heard that you also went on that station and talked about buying locally, and we certainly appreciate that. Gift cards. We talked about this a lot because we see the people standing at the kiosks in the businesses with all the gift cards on them, and there's not a lot of opportunity for local gift cards. So we want to get our local people in those places. So we did a lot of research, and we looked at different programs, contacted other chambers, just really have not found an idea that we like yet. There's a lot of different processors out there, and in order to do a Blue Springs type card, they'd all have to be on the same processor, and they just aren't. So this year, what we did is we created a magnet that we handed out to, starting in November, and we just listed, when you're going out to get gift cards, these are our Blue Springs businesses that provide gift cards. So that's how we resolved that for this year, and we'll just keep looking for other opportunities in the future. So after they were handed out through the holiday season, in January, we have a realtor on our committee, and that person volunteered to take any that were remaining to all the other local realtors, so that they could then include them in packets when people buy a new home. So hopefully that message is getting out to new residents of our community. November of 2015, at our monthly luncheon, we kicked off our Shop Local campaign for the retail holiday season. This is art from an insert that we put in the water bill. We promoted several things, including the Buy Blue Springs Week, which was Friday, November 27th through Sunday, December 4th. We really worked hard this year to coordinate our efforts with the other groups in town. We had several joint events during this season, and one of those was for Global Entrepreneur Week. The next slide is just some fun photos of that luncheon, people promoting Shop Small. The other side of our water bill insert promoted the Shop Small concept. That date was Saturday, November 28th this year. I think I told you last year that that is a program of American Express, and the U.S. Chamber, partnering with American Express, sends us items that we pass out to our members, like bags and things. So we do that. As part of that holiday retail promotion, we did our receipt reward program, and we ran that through November 23rd through December 14th. We also ran that program in 2014. So we ask our residents, bring in your receipts from Blue Springs businesses to the chamber office during that time period. And then at the conclusion of that contest, on December 15th, which was also the mayor's birthday, he helped us draw a winner at our office, and he tried to call her that day, but she wasn't able to answer her phone. The prize was $500 in American Express gift cards. Patricia Johnson was the winner, and she's the one pictured there on the right. She's an employee at St. Mary's Medical Center. She was very excited. She said she had between 30 and 40 receipts in the drawing, and she said, the first thing she said to me is, I'm going to use the money to buy local, and that she was going to go to restaurants, including one of her favorites, which was Rancho Grande Cantina. So we really like to hear that. So the statistics from that program, between November 23rd and December 14th, a total of 1,176 receipts were collected. 179 different businesses in Blue Springs were represented. Total dollars spent from those receipts was $46,962.05. So at the January meeting of our committee, they reviewed the program, and they did decide they absolutely want to do it this year in 2016 because they just really feel like for the past couple of years it's been such a success. They do want to run it longer this year, from November 1 all the way through mid-December. They want to put a form online because we got some feedback that it would be easier for people if we put the form online and just had them bring it into our office to submit. And then they have a couple other ideas about how to get the word out even more about that program. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. I want to tell you again that we just really have a great group of people working on the program. They come every month. They have new ideas. They talk things out. I'm proud of them and the things that they have accomplished and the excitement that they generate in our community. I also want to thank you guys because you have been very supportive about the program, and we appreciate that. Are there any questions about anything you've seen, done, anything I said?
Are there any questions from the council? Councilman Levacy.
Laura, I first just want to say great work this year, but this is the first time I've heard of this gift card program you're working on. Is the concept initially what you're trying to do is just have one gift card that works at X number of businesses in Blue Springs? Is that what you were kind of going for?
We talked through that. The thing that we learned is so many of them already have their own gift cards.
Sure.
So we didn't really feel like that would be of value to create an additional thing for them to have to process and then to figure out how to be reimbursed. We talked a lot about that, but decided that they have their own process going. They know how it works. Let's just promote what they have.
Sure. Okay. Very
But
cool.
if you have seen something in another area, we definitely want to hear about it.
Well, thank you very much.
Any other questions? If not, thank you for that presentation, and thank you and chamber members for being very much a part of the partnership that we have in Blue Springs. It makes Blue Springs a great place to live, shop, work, and anything that you can think of. And it just shows that it is reflective of a city on the move and on the right track.
And I would agree with that, Mayor. As coming from the chamber, the steps that this city has taken to become more business-friendly, I very much appreciate. And a perfect example of that is the recent business license renewal that went out listing area agencies that are helpful to business. I've not heard of that being done before, and that's amazing that we can all come together and work as one. So we appreciate it. It's a two-way street.
It's a partnership.
That's right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next, we have a presentation on the Human Relations Commission, its annual report, and I know two people from the commission are present here tonight. We have the chair of that group, Kynette Campbell, and the vice chair, Gino Bueno. So, Kynette?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
I'd like to say good evening to everyone, and to tell you, first of all, I'm very excited to be the chair of the Human Relations Commission. It's a passion of mine to have people connect. Sometimes there are barriers, be it that people are of different ethnicities, and because we're in a day and time where people go home, they park in their garages, and they don't come out to say hi or find out who their neighbors really are. And being a mother of a child with autism, I also like the aspect from the human relations standpoint that there are others with various disabilities that I think we can make an impact in understanding who they are and how they relate as well. So with that, I'll start with the first slide of the overview of the Human Relations Commission. As you know, we're in our infancy stages, so to speak, and we've gone through some changes in the last maybe 6 to 8 months. Originally, I started on the commission as a commissioner, but was later appointed to be the chair of the commission. I know our vice chair, I've known him for about maybe 15 years because we used to be neighbors, and he was actually the person who suggested that I be on the commission, and I was more than happy to do so. So I'll start with the City of Blue Springs. We pride ourselves, as we know, on diversity and responding to all citizens. In order to enhance the ability to educate and also respond to concerns that may be expressed related to gender, race, ethnicity, age, and sexual orientation, religious beliefs, or disabilities. That's why the Human Relations Commission was started. The history of the Human Relations Commission, Mayor Ross, of course, the Chief of Police, Wayne McCoy, who has definitely been a help with having me understand what goes on and how things should be ran in the meetings and some of the goals that we need to achieve. Also, the former HRC chair of the Lee Summit HRC, Dr. Gumpsey, drafted a charter for the HRC and appointed 7 members of the Blue Springs community. Of course, I am the chair of the group, and Gino Bueno serves as the vice chair. Other members appointed are Jane Bowerman, she's our recording secretary, Antoine Jennings, Susan Stokenberry, Diane Ellis-Jones, and Lori Moon. Some of our commissioners also work for VIPS, so they have an understanding of how things are run in the police department. So that helps, and we have a diverse group of people, which is always important because we get different opinions from the different places that they come from, where they live, where they work, things of that nature. Chief Wayne McCoy serves as the city's liaison. This is a picture of, it doesn't include some of our newer members, and also I must say that picture should be stretched out about 5 more inches, because I'm really, just, it would kind of thin me out there, but I had to fit it in, so I apologize to all the commissioners, because everybody looks kind of short and squatty, but most of the members, there are about 5 of us, not including Chief McCoy, we are on the current commission. In the spring of 2014, a community survey was conducted. We had focus groups to identify strengths within the Blue Springs community and opportunities identified by Blue Springs citizens in which growth could be achieved, education provided for the HRC, and the risk for addressing these issues. So I go to the training because, like I said, we're just really getting restarted, is that in November of last year, 2 of the commissioners, I was included, we attended a human rights conference in St. Louis. And some of the topics there, and it was a very good conference, some of the topics were, it was the 50th anniversary of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, furthering fair housing, final rule and discriminatory effects standard. Another one of the topics was the update of the Americans with Disability Act and the LGBT legal updates. Additionally, it was the 50th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. And it was a very good conference just to find out what's going on in our state and how we could implement some of the information that we found out in the plans that we have for our HRC. This year, the same Human Rights Conference will be held in Kansas City on November 14th. With the assistance of Dr. Gumpsey, the former chair of the Lee Summit HRC, the members of our HRC and the city's liaison met for a strategic planning workday on August 23, 2014, and developed our initial strategic plan for the commission. Our vision is to promote mutual understanding and respect among all citizens, seeking viable solutions of disputes between residents and their neighbors, local entities, and agencies. The mission of the HRC is to foster the improvement of human relations among and between citizens of all cultural backgrounds. We want to provide each individual with an equitable opportunity to grow and participate to the best of their ability in our economic, educational, political, and social systems. The HRC meets the 3rd Tuesday of each month at 6:30, and all of our meetings are open to the public. The agendas are posted on the City of Blue Springs website prior to each meeting. The activities of our HRC are to seek and solve diversity disputes involving Blue Springs citizens if necessary. The HRC offers mediation. We're at a point now where we will receive mediation, be trained on mediation through the Department of Justice. Chief McCoy and I met with a lady from the DOJ, and she's actually going to provide the mediation training to us on February 20th. So once we have the training, and we may need additional training from another source, we will be able to implement this more if there are disputes between neighbors in Blue Springs. Our referrals can be made to us at hrc@bluesprings.gov. Now, per the strategic plan, the HRC will pursue activities designed to promote diversity and inclusion within the community. So far, what we've planned, and you'll see that on the next slide, is we're going to have 2 neighborhood block parties. That's what we've coined them. And it will include partnering with, where our commission partnering with the police department and taking some of those officers to the neighborhoods so that the neighbor, and we'll have refreshments or food for everyone, so the neighbors can come out, meet each other, socialize, and also become familiar with potentially the officer that patrols their neighborhood. I think that this would be a good way, of course, for neighbors to get to know one another and to interact. Some of the other things which you'll see on another slide is we have some other activities planned this year as well to promote diversity and to get people to come out of their homes and come together so we could at least have a relationship or a rapport with one another. I've also proposed a budget for the new fiscal year, which we know begins October 16. This will enable us to carry out what our mission is. Also, if we receive a budget, we will have to implement or select a treasurer to handle those funds. Additionally, we have submitted a budget for now to get us through August 16th to the city, and if approved, we can make an impact and start to do some of the activities that we plan to during this year. So our accomplishments for 2015, Gino Bueno really spearheaded the Helping Residents Connect Fair. The purpose of the fair was to make Blue Springs residents aware of the HRC and the services that we offer. It was held in October, and while the turnout wasn't as we expected, I think that it was a very well organized event, and we did have some of our citizens attend. We also marched in the Fall Fun Fest parade. We handed out candy, and then we passed out flyers to the people that were there just to let them know who we were and to invite them to the fair, because the Fall Fun Festival is in September, so we did that before the fair in October. Additionally, I was interviewed by Pete Grigsby. He, some of you may know, works for Blue Springs South High School, and my purpose was to recruit 2 high school students to be a part of our commission, as stated in the ordinance, and it was also shown at Blue Springs High School as well. So we did that as a recruiting effort to get students. To date, we haven't received any students. However, I did just speak with Pete, must have been the end of last week, and I will do another, because when I did the first one, it was right after Thanksgiving, and people are in holiday mode sometimes, so maybe that's why we didn't get the interest at that time. Gino, the vice chair, and another of our commissioners and myself went to talk with or meet with the Lee Summit HRC. And the reason we did that was to find out what they're doing in their community to make a difference, to promote diversity, for them to let us know the challenges that they face, and to seek together to maybe do events, collaborate, to have events together. And it'll be, I think, on the next slide, but what we plan to do is to meet with all the local HRCs with their chairs and vice chairs, just to get an idea of how we can improve our HRC, but also to support each other. We also registered with the Missouri Commission on Human Rights. So, our action plans for 2016, I mentioned previously that we plan to have a couple of neighborhood block parties. The locations haven't been decided as of yet, but we're working on that. We will also have a booth at the Fall Fun Festival. Again, maybe handing out pins or bags or our business cards to let people know that we're here. And also, we'll have a booth at the Night Out Against Crime. I plan to, along with hopefully my vice chair, make a presentation at the City Council, the Rotary Club, and the Public Safety Board. We also want and think it's very important to develop a relationship with school counselors and offer our services to them and ask what they could do for us as well. So again, this is just letting businesses, the school district know that we're here and that we would like to work with them if they need anything from us and we can be of assistance, that we'd be glad to help. As I mentioned before, we will meet with the chair and vice chairs of the other local HRCs. What we would like to do is acquire our 501c3 status. Of course, this would enable us to receive funding from our local churches, things of that nature. And that's something, if approved by the city and the mayor, we'll go for. But at this point, it's just something that we have in the back of our minds, that if this is possible and will be helpful for the city and the HRC, that would be great. So that's something else we're aiming for. To tie into, we want to visit local churches to bring awareness to the HRC. It's very important that our community knows that we're here, and we're here to make a difference and here to help in any way that we can. I will also write articles for the Examiner. I've been a freelance writer for the Examiner for many years and a writer by trade, and my degree is also in journalism. So I love to write anything from business plans to 501c3s to newspaper articles. It doesn't matter, but I like the fact that we can make the public aware of what we're doing, where we're going, and I have a good contact through the Examiner, and she said she'd be happy to get any stories that we could give. So as long as it's okay with the other commissioners, I will write. We also want to improve the visibility on our social media outlet. We currently have a Facebook page, and I would like to have that to include more things that are going on with the HRC, just to make everyone aware. We're in the process of creating a YouTube video with police officers to inform residents how to respond when stopped by an officer. Sometimes we don't know what the procedure is. And I'll give a quick example, and I think I shared this with the commission, is I was driving home from work on 40 Highway. A policeman pulled me over, and he asked for my driver's license. And I gave him my license, but meanwhile, someone was I was in an apartment complex where he pulled me over. Someone was trying to move their car back, and it was an older couple, and I was blocking them because I had been pulled over. Automatically, I just put my car in reverse to let them out. And all of a sudden, they're like, wait, stop, wait. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And I didn't know that I shouldn't move my car when I'm sitting, just parked. And so that's something, maybe it's 101, but I had no idea. So I think that this would definitely be a good idea for us to know how to respond when we are stopped by an officer. That's the end of my presentation. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions, Councilman Edmondson?
Well, not necessarily a question. Well, I guess it would be a question. And on your list of 2016, I didn't see you mention the fair.
Right.
I attended that year, and I know it kind of have a small turnout, but I thought it was a well-prepared event and probably worthy of doing it again.
Yes, and we will do it again. We just planned in our last HRC meeting last Tuesday that we would do it in 2017 because we had planned to do it in April of this year, and there just wasn't enough time to adequately plan for it for April. So we're going to make this year where we're more aware to the residents, therefore the turnout would be better.
Good.
In 2017 in April for the fair, because you're right, I think it was a great idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any others?
Any other questions from council?
No?
Before I let you go, I want the vice chair to stand up. Now, most of you, if you attended the police department award ceremony in December, you probably know him more about his voice. He was the guy singing.
Right.
So Gino, good to have you here. And Ms. Kynette,
Yes.
thank you for coming and making that presentation. And certainly this is something that was a priority of mine because a city our size, being now the 11th largest city in the state of Missouri, really needs to be able to connect the community together regardless of whatever their race or religion and those factors are, to let people know that we're all here together and it takes all of us working together to continue to make this a great community.
Yes.
And so I applaud what the HRC is doing. You appear to have good vision on some things, and certainly we'll work with you in trying to get those things accomplished.
Great. Thank you. Thank you
All
for your
right,
time.
you bet. That brings us to a public hearing. We have a public hearing on the 10th amended Main Center Development Plan by Mr. Ken Billups Sr.
Mayor, the city has the following exhibit to enter into the record. City Council information form with attachments, memorandum to MCRC Board from Adam Norris, Deputy City Administrator, dated January 11, 2016. Project description, MCRC tax abatement policy, memorandum of understanding, notice to taxing jurisdiction of public hearing dated January 15, 2016, and proposed ordinance with MCRC 10th amended development plan attached as Exhibit A. This is all we have to offer for the record.
Okay, Mr. Norris, on behalf of the city.
Thank you, sir. The 10th Amendment amended development plan includes two projects. The first is at 110 Southwest 10th Street, and we're going to refer to that as Project A. The second is at 903 Southwest Jones Street, and that'll be referred to as Project B. Both of these projects are identical in scope, which include HVAC and window replacement, totaling about $18,300. with 40% of those costs being exterior costs and 60% being interior costs. Both of these properties have previous abatements, participated in the MCRC program. Project A had an abatement for 9 years. It expired in 2011. Would be eligible under our policy for an additional 1 year. That would estimate the value at about $2,384. Project B had an abatement for 5 years. It expired in 2007. It would therefore be eligible for up to a maximum of 5 additional years. We're estimating the value of that abatement to be $13,780. The projects meet the criteria of the MCRC policy. Notice has been provided to the impacted taxing jurisdictions. The Downtown Review Board and the MCRC Board of Directors have both recommended approval of these projects. If approved, both properties would no longer be eligible for any additional abatements under the C investment threshold. Any future investments or abatements would require investments in excess of $100,000 to qualify for B or A threshold, and would only be eligible for the 15 additional years. With that, I'd address any questions.
Are there any questions of the council? Seeing none. Thank you. Is the applicant present and wish to make comments? Okay. Well, we will go to the public. Is there anyone in the audience like to speak in support of? Yes.
Yes, Mayor.
Come up and be sworn in.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Need your name and address.
Yes, Galen Snyder, Chair for the MCRC, and appreciate addressing the council and the mayor. Just wanted to give a plug for the MCRC. This will be our 27th program since starting this in 2001. And even though this doesn't seem like a large improvement or a large amount, all improvements are very important to downtown. And give a plug for our new brochure. Thank you, Kim. And hopefully with the new brochure, we'll have larger and many more projects to come.
So downtown is alive.
Downtown's alive.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else like to speak in support of? In support of? Opposition to? Opposition to? Big gavel. Closes public hearing. Would anybody like to introduce Bill 4410?
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
First reading of Bill Number 4410, an ordinance adopting and approving the 10th Amendment Main Center Development Plan submitted by the Main Center Redevelopment Corporation, establishing a declaration that the redevelopment area described within the 10th Development Plan is a blighted area in need of development and redevelopment, and authorizing certain tax abatements within the redevelopment area described within the 10th Amended Development Plan.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
To a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Second reading of Bill Number 4410, an ordinance adopting and approving the 10th Amended Main Center Development Plan submitted by the Main Center Redevelopment Corporation, establishing a declaration that the redevelopment area described within the 10th Amended Development Plan is a blighted area in need of development and redevelopment, and authorizing certain tax abatements within the redevelopment area described within the 10th Amended Development Plan.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance
To
number.
a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quabell?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously. Give it ordinance number 4583.
Next, we have introduction and reading of Bill 4411.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
Okay.
First reading of Bill Number 4411, an ordinance approving final plat for Indigo Hills PUD, second plat, lots 30 through 33.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
To a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Second reading of Bill Number 4411, an ordinance approving final plat for Indigo Hills PUD, second plat, lots 30 through 33.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance
To a
number.
second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Culpepper?
Aye.
Councilman Quabell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously. Given ordinance number 4584.
That brings us to mayoral announcements. I only have one announcement, and that is the next city council meeting will be on February 16th, because the 15th is President's Day and it's a holiday. Here at this same location at 6 o'clock. We moved the time from 6:30 to 6 o'clock. And we also, again, want to thank our Scout Troop 362 from St. John Lalonde for being here tonight. You helped fill up the chamber tonight, so we thank you for being here. That brings us to Thoughts to Ponder, and there are two themes to tonight's Thoughts to Ponder. The first one is from Councilman Dale Carter, and it's very appropriate since this is the first time back in our renovated council chambers. It's from a letter from President John Adams to his wife Abigail on his second night in the White House. And by the way, there are a lot of people probably watching the state of Iowa tonight to see what happens. But the quote is, "Before I end my letter, I pray heaven bestow the best of blessings on this house and all that shall hereafter inhabit it. May none but honest and wise men ever rule under this roof." End quote. The next one, February is recognized as Black History Month. And during the month of February, I have quotes from those that made tremendous contributions for this nation. Tonight it comes from Malcolm X, and the quote is, "The future belongs to those who prepare for it today." End quote. Great lesson to be learned. Now I am going to go to our city administrator, Mr. Eric Johnson.
Your Honor, thank you. Tonight, we couldn't let this evening go without recognizing and honoring somebody who is a man of tremendous character and probably meets many of the great qualities that you just referenced. That would be you, sir. Yes. And I don't want you to have to lug that massive gavel with you from your office, so your staff thought it would be appropriate for you to have your own gavel so that you don't have to share with the Planning Commission or the BZA or any other commission. So, sir, this has your name on it, Mayor Carson Ross. It is your very own. We will care for it here in this facility.
Yes.
And also want to, it's very fitting that in the month of February of 2016, you are recognized for 15 years of service to the city of Blue Springs. And we double-checked this numerous times, so we know that the time frame is accurate, sir.
Yes.
So I'd like to present this clock to you in recognition, and also your 15-year service pin for the city of Blue Springs, dating back, taking into account all of your years of service from when you were a Board of Aldermen and then the last 8 years. And we look forward to the next 4 years after your election in April. So if the ladies and gentlemen here and your colleagues on the council would take a moment, I'd like to congratulate you for your years of service with the city, sir.
Well, thank you so much. And you notice I wear these pins very proudly because I have one on tonight. I'm not sure if that's the 5-year or 10-year. You got better eyes than I do.
No, I don't.
You don't? But anyway, thank you so much. And now I understand why you said that you couldn't tell me what you were going to talk about. It's been a great 15 years. And it's been great seeing this city transform from where it was when I first became involved. Basically, I became involved in 1980, serving as chairman of the city's personnel board, and then went on to become on the Board of Aldermen for 8 years and House of Representatives for 14 years, and now mayor for 8 years. So thank all of you. First Lady was right there with me. Okay, I now will defer to our city attorney for a motion to so move.
Thank you. At this time, the appropriate motion would be to move that the council go into closed session pursuant to Section 610.021, subparagraph 1 of the revised statutes of Missouri for the purpose of having confidential and privileged communications between a governmental body or its representatives and its attorney relating to legal action, causes of action, or litigation involving this body, and that legal advice, any votes, minutes, documents, or other records discussed or taken during the closed session remain closed, and that this body stand adjourned at the completion of such session.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Colbeck?
Aye.
Councilman Quibell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Mayor Ross?
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
Okay, now I'm going to seek instructions. Do we go back to our newly?
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll be adjourned here.
Yeah, we're going to be adjourned here. We're going to be dismissed to our new executive conference room to go into executive session. Now, if you know in the past I said, you all get out of here so we can have an executive session. You don't have to do that anymore. So anyway, y'all can stay in here, you can visit, you can mingle, you can do whatever you want to do. The city council is getting ready to recess into the conference room to discuss whatever our city attorney said. Thank you for being here tonight.